They're taking time series data of radio signals through your hand to try and find your blood sugar level without needing to take any blood.
Yep.
All of this stuff is possible by taking that data that we've been collecting for the last 10 years, turning it into a real actionable machine learning model, and then compressing it down to fit onto that edge device.
Hello IPXers, we are here at the TechX show and we're here to talk to Jim about Edge Impulse.
Hi there.
Tell me all about Edge Impulse and the problems that you solve with AI.
So what we do is we provide an engineering platform for all engineers, not just data scientists, to take sensor data from their devices, train real machine learning models to give insights from that data. And then the clever bit is we can compile those models down to optimized C++ code that can run on really resource-constrained devices, really low-end MCUs.
Right. So just give me an example of a typical sort of customer, because you talked about, so we're talking about lots of sensors out in the field,
Yep.
taking in lots of data. So what would be a typical sort of data source that you deal with a customer today?
So you might think that our typical customers might be someone in IoT, but actually the biggest customers right now are people who are building real products for customers, consumers. So I think about smart wearable. I've got an Aura Ring on, one of our customers.
Yeah, tell us about that product there then.
And the Aura Ring, it's got a bunch of sensors on it. It's trying to do what an Apple Watch does, but on your finger. So we've got heart rate, temperature, accelerometer. Those are classic.
Very classic.
Classic sensors.
Yep.
And loads of devices have them.
Yep.
But actually, what are we using those sensor data for on the device, apart from just feeding it back to the cloud?
Yeah.
So what we provide is the tools to help you create real insights on the device itself. So it could be anything from classifying your activity, knowing whether you're running or walking, to we work with a company that's doing non-invasive blood glucose monitoring.
Right.
They're taking time series data of radio signals through your hand to try and find your blood sugar level without needing to take any blood.
Yep.
All of this stuff is possible by taking that data that we've been collecting for the last 10 years, turning it into a real actionable machine learning model, and then compressing it down to fit onto that edge device.
Yeah. So let's just talk about so end customer taking in data.
Yeah.
Now you've described, every single customer will have their own way of taking in data, and they'll have their own way in which they want to interpret it. Do you then take a standard model that interprets that data, or do you have to, for want of a better phrase, do machine learning on that data each time? So how does that work?
So generally, the way that a customer might approach this problem is they'll go, okay, I want my product to give my customer this insight. So they might go, okay, I want my product to be able to classify when my customer is climbing a wall or running a 10K run, or something like that.
Yeah, and so they set parameters.
Yeah, you set the goal.
Yeah.
And then we look at the data that you got, and you start labeling that data. So you want some data where your accelerometer and heart rate sensor are running, and somewhere they're climbing, and somewhere they're rowing, and whatever the things you want to detect are. And then you use our tools, really simple low-code tools, or you bring your own model from your data science team to generate a machine learning model based on that data. And then we compile that down, and your firmware guys go, oh great, it's a standard C++ library. I can put this onto any device I like, and I know it'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're, we talk about machine learning, electronics all the time, we talk about AI learning all the time. So typically you've got a customer that would be looking to take in some data, and they may or may not have any experience of machine learning. You're going to so you'll be able to take in that data, and your code then will do that for them.
Yeah, so the idea is we want to make a really user-friendly tool because we want to upskill all engineers. Our founders are embedded engineers at heart.
Yep.
They're really there to take their expertise knowing about the product and knowing about the real hardware and firmware that's going on in that product, and then apply it to the machine learning world.
Yep.
So the tools are there set up in a way that any engineer can use them, and it uses engineering principles rather than really technical detail to guide you through the process of creating a robust model.
So customer comes to you, engineer comes to you and says, I want to understand how I'm going to take a data source.
Yeah.
It's then going to be, we're going to use your skills to do the machine learning.
Yeah.
And the point of that is that when that data set, then or the set of parameters sits on the device itself.
Yeah.
And then what happens then?
Well, the real value of running these models on the device itself, rather than having to send that raw data up to the cloud, is that you get inherent privacy. So the data never leaves the device. So it's just classifying activity. All you need to tell the mothership is what activity is happening,
Yep.
not the raw data about where this person's going, the GPS signal, whatever
Yep.
it is.
Yep.
So you get data privacy by default. You also get really low latency and 100% uptime. There's no worry about losing connection. And the fourth thing is, we all know microcontrollers, the bane of your existence is battery life. So if you can do all of your processing on the device, the most power intensive thing is turning on your radio. And if you only need to turn on your radio to send like 4 bytes of information rather than kilobytes and kilobytes of sensor data, and you only need to do it maybe once a day rather than every hour, you're reducing the burden of the heaviest power usage of your device. You're reducing that burden on the embedded system.
So when we talk about machine learning, you would think that we're talking about the benefits of machine learning. So you'd think that you come and talk to Edge Impulse, you use your skills so that you can get your data set, you can understand what your data set is, you then learn from the data that you've helped them understand, you then embed that back onto the device, inside the chip. But actually you've just described an environment where all the benefits actually are sitting on the device because of the way that you've done it.
Yeah, exactly. And machine learning is not always the solution. It's a means to an end.
That's the point, yes.
It creates, and our platform is much the same. We only use machine learning where it's really great, which is in finding those patterns and repeating them over time. There are things that allow us to make those models really small that are not machine learning. So another discipline that we're really heavy in is digital signal processing. Traditionally with machine learning, you might have a model, you think about ChatGPT, it's got 7.5 billion parameters in it. Our models might have 100, because what we're doing is instead of just feeding all this raw data into the model, we're performing things like digital signal processing to extract the useful data from your raw sensor data first, like frequency bands, and then you feed that into the model, makes the model much smaller and run more efficiently on device. So for us, machine learning is a tool, but it's about creating better products for consumers, and it's about the outcome. It's always about the outcome.
It's a means to an end to the outcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay. Well, Jim, that's a brilliant introduction to Edge Impulse and how our community can take the concept of machine learning, understand that you can take in data, understand what the data set is, as it were, make then that much more efficient on the end device. But then it's the outcome that is the key thing.
And it's all about the outcome. The analogy I like to use is right now, all product companies, the leaders in those companies are clamoring to their engineers. ChatGPT is this massive thing. Where's AI in our business? The engineers are going, we make washing machines. You can't put ChatGPT on a washing machine and make it useful. But actually, you can use the concepts of AI to help a real outcome. So a washing machine, you could do fault detection. You could do the type of clothes that you're trying to wash, detect that really easily with AI. There are real use cases that give a great outcome to your customer that aren't just about hype.
Yeah. So we have a community of design engineers who are thirsty to disrupt their world, find better ways of building better products. So they've listened to this video and gone, okay, there might be something in this machine learning model for us. So what's the first step for them to approach you? How does that process work?
So we've got an amazing community of developers already. We've got, I think this week we ticked over 100,000 developers on our platform. You can go and sign up for free to try it out. Go and do your personal exploration. We've got a load of example projects out there for understanding the different things that are the possible. And then once your company or business is ready to start looking at this as a thing that they want to build into their products, come and have a chat with our sales team and we can work out the best way to get you to that end solution.
Yeah. And in terms of how you transact with them, is there a certain volume that you're more interested in? I mean, because I don't want to, it's very important that the community understands.
So we work with customers, who are startups all the way up to big enterprises.
Right.
And really for us, what we're interested in is what your use case is. And really, once you get beyond the stage of trying to understand what machine learning's for and what you can do, the art of the possible, we want to talk to you because there's a load we can do all the way from R&D to production that we can really speed up your time to market. So, once you're serious about it, come and have a chat with us. For sure.
Good. Jim, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Very, very interesting.
Nice to meet you.
Well, that was a very interesting interview with Jim at Edge Impulse. If you guys have an end device that is constantly collecting data and you want to take data which is good and separate it from data which is bad, leaving only the data which you want as efficiently as possible. For example, with an Apple Watch, you want it to record steps, but when you're doing movements like this and this, you don't want it to record that as steps, otherwise it's not accurate. So if you have anything similar to that in your device and you want it to make sure that you have the most efficient data as possible, then apply to a value at ipXchange.tech.
Ayo, where my engineers at?